What are you doing? Why'd you do that? I told you not to do that. What are you, some kind of a stupid bitch? Get the freak over here. Now help me. Don't touch me. I'm sorry. You got what you deserve. Hi, class. Sorry for the bad reproduction, but what you just heard supposedly, or perhaps, is a case of domestic abuse. My topic today is going to be on domestic battery and mandatory arrest by police. And the question comes up frequently as to why police are mandated, or should they be mandated to make a mandatory arrest at a domestic. Most of you, if not all of you, if not all of us, have, excuse me, I've had a head cold, I apologize, have had maybe perhaps an incident or heard something, what you just briefly heard in the beginning, to catch your attention. And a lot of times it goes unreported. And a lot of people think it's not their business and they shouldn't report it. I would beg to differ. From a personal perspective, being a police officer for the many years I have, and being involved probably in well over 1,000 domestics in my career, I can tell you that you or anybody not reporting it is the wrong thing to do. Real short and to get to the point, domestic battery here in the state of Massachusetts is defined as the striking, hitting, kicking, punching, or threatening of abuse, physical or mental, of another person. The legal definition of abuse, if anybody's interested, is the actual physical abuse, an attempt to harm another, placing another in fear of serious physical harm, or causing another to engage in sexual relations by force, threat, or force of duress. Prior to 1970s, society viewed intimate partner violence as a private issue. It was always seen that it was believed to be a private matter between a husband and a wife, which most domestics are. In the late 70s and 80s, policy reform occurred in the form of mandatory arrest, which offered police officers little discretion, and resulting in a must arrest requirement, which is what the standard is today in most states. So prior to 1980, pretty much what the police did was pretty, they didn't want to get involved. It was a private issue between husband and wife, so on and so forth. What happened is, after doing a survey or an experiment, the most famous one is the Minneapolis, Minnesota domestic violence experiment, which showed that with police involvement, that the right thing to do was to arrest. It showed that the rate of recidivism or repeat offense dramatically decreased when arrest was made, instead of just sending the party away or referral. In today's day and age, what we're faced with now is that the domestic violence is on an upswing, if you can believe it. And I think that has to do mostly because people are reporting it. And the more reports, even if it may not be, and we've gone to calls where it's just a TV, but you don't know that, being a neighbor, or maybe you're walking by, or whatever it may be. But if you see it, report it. And when the police respond, they're going to make that the discretionary decision as to whether to arrest. There have been some landmark cases that have gone on through the country. One of them was just close by in Torrington, Connecticut, that set the wheels in motion for what domestic violence is today. In Torrington, there was a young woman. They actually made a TV movie about it, and she repeatedly called the police again and again and again. And police responded, and they never arrested her her husband, her boyfriend. End result, she ended up dead. She was brutally murdered by this man. The family sought a suit, and for the police's lack of proper response, which meaning that he should have been arrested. And if I actually did a paper on that in another class, and to tell you how anybody could justify not arresting that guy is beyond me. Other interesting facts with that, respondents from both groups, meaning the offenders and the victims, they overwhelmingly acknowledge that the challenges and complexities that a mandatory arrest introduces into a relationship, which would dissuade people from contacting police, because for these people the cost of arrest under mandatory arrest laws outweigh the benefit. In other words, what they're saying is that it is not feasible financially for them to become involved. And that's another reason mandatory arrests have become, because a lot of victims are hesitant to step up and report it, because they know that if the breadwinner in the family is going to be arrested, they then will turn around and they will end up how they're going to pay the bills if he's in jail, so on and so forth. And that's a premise that's been going on for a long time. However, in today's day and age, under mandatory arrest, there are a lot of victim groups and proactiveness that's to help them if they get into that situation. So they're trying to cover all bases. The bottom line is, I could go on and speak about the subject for 20 minutes. We're only allotted a certain amount of time, so I'll end it with this. If you were the one being, if you were the one that was a victim of domestic battery, would you report it? If you were the one that was the victim of domestic battery, would you want somebody to report it for you? Would you want your son, your daughter, anybody you know, would you want them to be a victim of domestic battery? And understand that the police response is a prophylactic response, meaning that it is better to get somebody involved in the system now at the outset, hopefully, and at the beginning, to cease any further action that may come down the road, because usually domestics don't get better, they get worse. So the first beating isn't too bad, and then you go on and on and on, and unfortunately it may go as far as somebody losing their life, which has happened numerous times. On that note, that's all I have. I hope that I in some way informed you as to why police officers make mandatory arrest, and why I hope that you all take into consideration some facts, and that you think of doing that, reporting it if you think that domestic battery is occurring to someone that you know, that you love, or maybe just something you see in the street. Thank you for your time, and good luck.